There's no bigger American flag than the one Post Malone played against at the Super Bowl. You know, it's like,
I thought you were going to rewind to Joel Santana wearing a full American flag outfit.
Which Post Malone is probably also familiar with.
Yeah, I don't think that they meant the same thing.
The higher the bandana, the closer to God.
I often say. Welcome back. It's Popcast Deluxe. I'm John.
I'm Joe.
YouTube.com/Popcast. Like and subscribe, especially for the Heat Rocks of the Week. Songs of the Week category. First, we are going to talk about the biggest song of the week.
Yep.
Or the biggest song of the week not made by Kendrick Lamar.
Yes.
I guess is maybe how we should do. So we'll start with that. That is Post Malone and Morgan Wallen. This is a extraordinarily big and extravagantly made pop country crossover song. These are the kinds of songs that are, on the one hand, smoothing Post Malone's path towards country music as a potential avenue. These are also the sorts of songs that are smoothing Morgan Wallen's path towards pop ubiquity, in spite of the challenging couple of years that he had after he was captured saying a racial epithet on video, though that has not adversely impacted his career.
Morgan Wallen, meet Post Malone.
So this song was being teased for quite a while.
Yep. Before Morgan Wallen threw a chair off of a balcony.
That's true. Morgan Wallen's also had a challenging 2 or 3 weeks. Also, you've seen these Morgan Wallen TikTok walkout videos.
I haven't.
I guess in the spirit of the Lil Yachty walking out on stage and looking cool, like someone at some concert on this current Wallen tour, there's a video of Wallen walking out and like high-fiving and like
sure.
his shoes.
And like Drake has been doing with every
I think
big
Theo Von's with him, maybe DeAndre Hopkins, maybe.
Okay.
I'm making that
Yeah,
up.
I was going to say, you know who that is?
No, but like, sure, DeAndre Hopkins or a person who is in the same milieu as DeAndre Hopkins is with him. But now there's like, umpteen TikToks with like random people being like doing their Wallen
doing
walkouts,
their version,
doing skits.
You don't have to join in, she said she'd take a chance. I've been kinda crazy ever since they went down. I got kinda lost, baby, this what I found.
When you said Wallen walkout, I wrongly thought you meant like
people were like protesting Wallen shows.
Yes. Because he put the people of Nashville at risk when he threw the chair.
Having been to a few Wallen shows, I can assure you,
no one's walking out.
No one is walking out of a Wallen show. What do you make of this song musically? Forget about bigger pop. First of all, Post Malone also third big quote unquote country collaboration of the year.
Well, I was going to say this
Beyonce,
is actually phase
Taylor.
4 in Post Malone's plan for taking over the world in 2024. Phase 1 was performing at the Super Bowl.
Oh, sure. Just yes.
Phase 2,
Correct.
a Beyonce feature.
Yes.
Phase 3, a Taylor feature, not a country song.
I know. I'm being cheeky.
But yes, country enough. And then here we are. We have landed in Nashville, and Post Malone has taken everybody in town who knows how to make a perfect record and put them all to work. The song was written with Ashley Gorley. Mm-hmm. The song was written with Ernest, a longtime collaborator of Morgan Wallen.
Fellow podcaster.
Louis Bell is here. That's Post Malone's right-hand man. Yeah. And they nailed it. You know what I mean? Like, people, when they stretch to do a phase 3 of their career and they're like, oh, I've mastered X, hip-hop, I've mastered Y,
writing,
pop.
Audio podcasting.
Yeah. Now I'm going to Z.
Video podcasting, like and subscribe.
Usually it's a stretch, and it might not be done. It might seem like a copy of the thing, whereas this feels lived in the way that it's supposed to. It's like, it's a radio record. It's not
huge radio record.
Yeah, it's not like, this isn't Hank, you know what I mean? But like, it doesn't have to be, because these guys know how to make smashes in different sounds, and this is the sound they chose, and
Although
they aced it.
But I also think it underscores the fact that making a Morgan Wallen smash and making a Post Malone smash are not really that different propositions. Whereas even 5 to 10 years ago, you would think, okay, the biggest or poppiest country record sitting next to the poppiest pop or hip hop pop record, there'd be enough there's enough space between them that you really hear the genre, you hear the baskets of genre. But you don't hear that at all because you don't hear it on Wallen albums and you don't hear it on Post. I mean, obviously the malleability of Post Malone, the sort of permanent lack of identification, like the chameleonic tendencies. Like,
sure, but
that's
I
just
mean,
a
the
person who's moving in
master
that.
of melody. Like if he's known for anything now, it's like writing a melodic phrase or singing a melodic phrase that is going to work for millions upon millions of people. Like he's so good at it, and I think his performance here is among the best that he's had in many years since the start of his career.
I think it's better than both the Taylor and Beyonce features.
Oh yeah, he saved his best stuff for himself.
It's better than that. Okay, so in this video, this is a very country video.
Yep.
In the sense,
Pickup
I mean,
trucks,
yes, but in the
dive
aesthetics,
bars.
even just in the aesthetics of how the camera works,
American
like
flags.
Yes, well, that's the thing. So the
But
American
then
flag,
fancy cameras for a country video.
it is fancy cameras, but the shots feel very much of a piece with contemporary country videos. But the American flag, and so we're not going to spend umpteen amount of time about politics and genre.
No,
but
this is firmly apolitical.
It is, but it is striking that Post Malone, a white singer who found initial fame essentially doing hip hop informed ambient soul. I'm making all this up, but essentially, who was working within Black cultural norms to become popular is now like, I am going to make a country song or a country pop song with the biggest country artist who has a checkered past, and we are going to use this incredibly bright symbol that you will not find anywhere in the music videos of the people who I grew up making music with. That to me is maybe the most striking thing that's happening in this video. Obviously, it exists to sell beer. It exists to play at sporting events. It exists for commercials, but I don't think that flag is a mistake. That's not a casual error using that flag. So I think it's striking. I think I'll be curious to know how that plays out 6 months, 12 months, 24 months down the line.
I'm again going to rewind to the Super Bowl. You know, there's no bigger American flag than the one Post Malone played against at the Super Bowl. You know, it's like,
I thought you were going to rewind to Joel Santana wearing a full American flag outfit.
Which Post Malone is probably also familiar with.
Yeah, I don't think that they meant the same thing.
What do you think Joel Santana's American flag meant?
We're going to do that?
Not today. We'll save it.
We'll save it.
For a future episode.
Yeah, the meanings of Joel Santana's sartorial experiments.
Yes. The higher the bandana, the closer to God.
I often say. I'm always saying.
This is good. This is the number one record. There's no question about it.
Unless the Kendrick record really holds on.
I don't think it's going to hang on quite as long as this one.
No, I mean, look, the persistence of Morgan Wallen, like the 2 albums still in the top 5 or top 6 of the Billboard
On any
album
given
chart
week.
for years and years and years. There is evident appetite. One thing about Post Malone is he understands the mechanics of the streaming era better than almost any musician in any genre. And so I wouldn't be surprised if on some level a year ago or 18 months ago, he was looking and saying, okay, well, who's streaming really well that I don't work with? And it's this guy.
I mean,
how do I find a path to this?
The fact that the Venn diagram now of Beyonce, Taylor, and Morgan Wallen is just Post Malone, like, couldn't ask to be in a better position than this guy has put himself in. And again, I think he's mostly done it. Like, say what you will about the moves and the use of genre and, you know, the whitening, the re-whitening, whatever you want to say. Like, the thing that I think all these people like and respect about him the most is that he knows how to write and sing a song. Might just be that simple.
if you say so. You first for recommendation or me?
Why don't you go? What do you got this week?
All right, it's not a new song, but it is a new.
It's new to most people.
It's new to most. Fair. We live in different times. We live in different planes. Here's the thing. If you've been following our ongoing coverage of the contemporary rap underground, you've been hearing us talk about Xavier So Based and Yapo JJ, and of course Netsman. But you're probably aware if you're tapped in with us, if you're tapped in with Unks on that subject matter, you're probably aware of Ian, the one-time Clemson rugby player who proves that you or I or anyone can be yeet if we try hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that sounds like an insult, but I don't mean it as an insult. Ian has had an interesting run in the last... and I didn't mean that to be shady.
Ian has had an interesting run.
He's had an interesting run. I didn't mean it shady. In the last 2 months, especially. Although I did a bit of a dive on his Spotify, and he's
got a lot of songs.
30 songs.
Yes. He's not an industry plant. He's been working hard.
Unless they were planting very early. But yes, he's been working hard.
The garden is sowed.
Very much. Look, that's in a perfect world. If we ever ran a label, you'd never know who we planted. Let's just put it like that. Okay, so this song, there's a new video. It's Cole Bennett video, which tells you all the money's kicked in, everything's moved. I'm sure Cole gave a discount. This is for Figure It Out.
Because they're brothers?
That's
a joke.
Comment.
That's a joke.
No comment. So Figure It Out, this is the song, and if you don't know Figure It Out, you do know my big brother like Marshawn Lynch. He'll run through somebody.
They about to put me on suicide watch. Can't choose what color I'm feeling today. Thank God it's a two-tone watch. He don't like what I'm doing, he probably a say it, but he'll never do somebody. My big brother like Marshawn Lynch, he'll run through somebody. She done caught me on a bad day. Host so perfect, it ruined my headspace. The driver goes straight to the staircase. How could I ever be late to the airplane?
Ian rolled out this video with a few Instagram or TikTok clips, including of him traveling to find Marshawn Lynch, going to Oakland to try to find Marshawn Lynch. There was a video 2 or 3 days ago, so it seemed obvious that was a setup for a video like this. It's pretty straightforward. It seems like they filmed it in about 90 minutes. Again, meant with love, meant warmly. But Ian, to me, I find to be a rapper who has a good ear for catchphrases and understands the technology that allows you to take something like an ordinary vocal and make it sound quite extraordinary with, I assume, not that much technological intervention.
Just the yeet pack
I mean,
of effects.
Quite possibly. But it's interesting now that you don't need a yeet to be a yeet. It's you can have another person, or you can have that style. You're a fan of the style ultimately. And Ian is funny. He is self-aware. He is charismatic, but also not over the top. He's not trying to, and who knows? He's 500 people know about this. It's we're really we're in the weeds here. But to me, this is where I know every A&R is figuring out also Ian is white. We did not. How do we get this far?
It was implied when I said he was Cole Bennett's brother.
Yes, of course. But yes, Ian is white, athletic, not
floppy hair.
Yeah, great, real little taper fade. He's not your typical rap star, as it were. But is making songs that, in my mind, could be typical rap hits, particularly in the current moment. It'll be really interesting to see which label is trying to rise to the challenge of doing this in a responsible way and doing this in a thoughtful way.
To not turn it into Lil Mabu.
Whole separate conversation. But I wonder if it's possible to do it responsibly. That's the thing that I think my main question is. But I think he's really talented. I think the songs are mostly really good, especially the more recent stuff. If you go back to 2022, still trying to find a style. But I think somewhere last year, found a style. And found a style where you have these pull-out catchphrases. I made a reference about it on show a few weeks ago. about
Couple times, I think.
Forgive me.
I'm just saying. The song's been stuck in your head since from the dinner table video.
Yes, from even before the dinner table video, Buddy got every symptom. You can have these are very these are very Instagram captionable. Talk about a throwback.
Well, there's
Instagram
now a job available there for top Instagram caption
but I
writer
remember seeing
with Drake out of the paint.
But I remember seeing it was like a news cycle on all the websites and IG accounts that follow this scene. It was like a news cycle when Drake followed Ian on Instagram.
Yep.
This is a thing that is happening, is moving in some way. I'm intrigued because I wonder if this is going to end up being the poppy breakthrough for the Yeet or post Yeet sound that even though it's successful, never quite crossed over in the biggest sense. But maybe given a figure like this, we'll have a different out. The thing with Yeet is like, don't look at me, don't perceive me. And Ian is like, please, please, please perceive me. What do you got this week?
I got Central C.
Hey.
Central C is back. Seems to have an album cooking. This is CC Freestyle. And this has...
Short.
It's short.
It's just shorter than the Ian song.
Yeah.
Ian song is like 1 minute and 20 seconds.
This is a tossed off YouTube video. It's a freestyle.
Is it tossed off, though?
Well, this is the thing. It's meant to seem tossed off.
Yes.
He feels a little nervous almost.
You think?
And I think one of the reasons is because he's trying to start a beef or continuing an ongoing beef, depending on how many.
Not with Madeline.
No, with Digga D, who's currently incarcerated. Depends on how closely you follow UK drill YouTube pages. You could find out about the substance or alleged substance of this beef. This song goes on for as long as it takes to make a cup of tea. At the beginning, he asks for one. That's how you know you're in the UK. And then by the end, he's sipping the tea.
I have tea at the house.
You don't have tea like Central
not
C
this
has
kind of tea.
You don't have tea like Sench has tea in this condo or whatever, wherever he is.
I don't.
I think it's telling when this song came out. Album's coming. Drake and Kendrick is the biggest thing in the world. Look, everyone is going to be beefing for the next 18. You and I are going to be beefing. If we want this YouTube channel to take off, we're going to start a beef. And we're going to hash it out live. YouTube.com/popcast. Like, subscribe, and comment.
Yes.
He says some funny stuff in this freestyle. He's wearing a G-Unit shirt.
Which that's the
real tell.
That's the tell.
Drake
Beg for Mercy album art.
Spun the G-Unit chain in Family Matters. He's basically saying over and over again in a Drake-like way, I'm the most popular out of the UK. Second biggest writer to J.K. Rowling, according to the end of this freestyle.
Again, weird flex, but okay.
But he just keeps saying, I've crossed over, basically. They might know you around the ends, but they know me overseas.
Which is not that different from the core substance of the Drake-Kendrick beef.
But then he's doing this. I think he's doing both the forward-looking thing and the backward-looking thing because he's doing this over the Flukes I Have Nothing Whitney Houston flip, which is an old grime flip from the late aughts. And so he's sort of looking backwards, UK rap, and saying, now I'm taking it to America, basically. But he's doing that while trying to sort of use beef to, I think, rile the faithful, the sort of people who care about the inner workings of the UK scene, and think of C as the ambassador for that in an outward-looking way. So I think it's an interesting move. We'll see how that plays. I don't know if an American audience cares about the beef necessarily.
It doesn't feel aimed for an American audience.
Right.
I mean, this is the thing. The earliest Central C stuff that did get traction in America didn't feel targeted to America, but was very legible to an American audience.
A song like Doja,
exactly,
which is about an American.
Yes, and the
star.
2 or 3 songs prior to that were still kind of you felt like you can participate in it without knowing the backstory. This is not that. This is purely a backstory record, and I think you're right. It's purely for the faithful. I think it exists. If you are trying to maintain relevance, primacy, you're doing this on a lot of levels. You're doing it in town, you're doing it out of town, you're doing it amongst your friends, you're doing it amongst your enemies. This is one portion of what I imagine is a very big plan. I'm sure that on the back of this, there's like a big dumb sample pop post drill record, like just waiting, an Ice Spice collab, something like that. I'm sure it's just around the corner.
And what's funny about this is
this is for all the dogs.
Yeah, but it's funny that it still has that. It's doing a grime thing, but it also has a Whitney Houston sample, so it's like it's trying to be both. And then the real tell to me is the hard-coded subtitles. The lyrics are on the screen in the video. And yeah, it's it's the YouTube equivalent of a street record, but because it's Central C, it could be bigger than that.
Sure.
And I think you're right that we'll have the other shoe to drop as he moves towards presumably taking over the world this summer. So this is CC Freestyle.
Let's get it.
I grew in low-income housing. Now my rent is 18,000. The UK's most famous writers probably leave me after J.K. Rowling. Made 10M off my debut album. Label don't even care how it's sounding. Tell them that we don't need A&Rs. I'll do it myself and make it without. On 23, I was paying my homage. Now I need them to give me my flowers. While I'm alive, bro, give me my props. A lot of man washed like I see their sour. We celebrate wins like sentences, bro. Fresh out the bin, get a champagne shower. We're not on the block, no more. We're in mansions. Tell them, bro, lay off the gas.